for tuning into this live stream segment of Mikasa Sukasa. As always, I am your humble host, Niko House. Before I get started, and matter of fact, oh damn, Tulsi Gabbard is 15. I think she's only 16,000 to 15,000 donations away from getting on the debate stage. That was a number that I was recently quoted. And I'm gonna go back and post that donation link in the comment section afterwards. If anybody has a donation link that they want to post in the super chat, actually no, I can't post a link in the super chat because for some reason super chats won't let us post any links. So I'll go back and post that link in the comment section afterwards. Also, we are on Roku. I was not posting into Roku directly onto my Roku channel, like onto my Roku, like literally I have a channel on Roku. The link is actually in the description. The whole network does. And the reason I haven't been personally posting is because I didn't like the quality of my last microphone. People are going to be listening to it on TV. I didn't want their ears bursting from all the crackling. So we upgraded the mic so that we can continue to post on Roku. And if you do have Roku, you definitely want to subscribe. Click that link in the description because we'll be doing Roku exclusives. Mostly because we kind of have to. It's part of the rules to a degree. And we're only like 2 a week. Having some in-depth conversations. It'll be about like a 45-minute to an hour-long conversation, exclusive for Roku. So if you don't have Roku, you can use you can get a 30-day trial. You can subscribe. And I keep hearing Roku's like the best thing out right now, which is why we got on it. And it's cheaper than regular cable. So if you have Roku, definitely go click on the link in the description. Subscribe to our channel there, so that way you can get updates and make sure that if YouTube doesn't alert you, your TV will whenever we update things. And also, of course, make sure that we get those Roku exclusives. So, damn, it's hot. So I live in Miami, y'all. It's always hot out here. That's why I just started wearing tank tops because it's getting around that time of year. But so Russia's over. Russiagate's done. It's over. It's fun. It's been great, guys. But it's time to say bye-bye. There's no more. I don't know what else to tell these people. It's been finished. Once again, there are some people, Jennifer, shout out to you. I was talking to you in the comment section today, have been following me since I had 500 subscribers. And because of when I was not when I was, but when I was only an activist, I had worked on the ground enough and discovered enough corruption and things like that. And I was so like hyper focused on the campaign that when Russiagate was announced, I was like, yeah, okay. There was no Russian collusion. I've been said this. The logic didn't make sense. And I don't want to go into all of that right now. But it just didn't make any sense. It's like Jimmy Dore always says. I just ask questions. That's all I've ever done. All I do is ask questions. Like, okay, if you feel like Russian collusion, well, why? Well, because Manafort got indicted. Yeah, that was about Ukrainian stuff like that happened 6, 7, 8 years ago. I don't know what that has to do with. Well, you think that David Hartful, appreciate it. See the super chat. DCO. Oh, that's savvy. That's smart. You got a future in YouTube and YouTube economics. It got smart. he posted a link to the campaign donation site right there. And he actually separated it so that it didn't appear as a link. Smart guy. And so my point was that like there was all this speculation, and it arose out of this disdain for Donald Trump because I mean the guy he's a hateful dude. He's a weirdo. He's easily manipulated, but the entire neoliberal media had much more faith in the intellect and the savvy of Donald Trump than myself and many others, of course. But I'm speaking for myself right now. No, I had no faith in this man. You're trying to tell me that Donald Trump is so intelligent? This man managed to rig an election 2 years, 3 years in advance with Russia? I'm like, this man can't even keep a business alive. And y'all gonna try to convince me that Donald Trump can rig an election 3 years in advance with our country's superpower and nobody is gonna catch it. That's crazy to me. It's not feasible. Okay, it's literally unbelievable. But like I said, people like Cenk, people like Anna, people like Sam Cedar, all David Pakman, you know, the neoliberals, the ones there's like this YouTube people. I don't know if y'all have caught on to this yet, but I feel like the best way to describe it is Kyle Kalinski's in the middle, right? To the left of Kyle, you'll have myself, Tim Black, Kim Iverson, Bob TV, shout out to him, Jamarl Thomas, I know Jimmy Dore. Holy crap! I can't believe I almost forgot Jimmy. Empire Files with Abby Martin. And there's a list, but you can kind of guess what I'm referring to. So then on the right of Kyle, you have basically everybody at TYT. You had I forgot Aaron Mate. So my bad, Aaron. You're dope. You've been debunking this shit like for years. And to the right of Kyle, you have TYT, Sam Cedar, David Packman, and a few others, but you kind of get the drift of what I'm going at there. So basically, here's what the funny part is: you want to know who you get the news from, who you should be getting your analysis from. Everybody that I named that was to the left of Kyle, and Kyle, by the way, I like Kyle, love his work. Everybody to the left of Kyle gave up their careers to do this because they felt like our planet was in danger, and they felt like, well, humans were in danger because it has gotten that bad. Like I said, Tim Black gave up a very lucrative career. I gave up full scholarships. I was going to have a walk-off home run to law school, and I was going to get whatever damn job I wanted to afterwards. And my mom's still pissed, like I was saying before the show started, but it's okay. But everybody that I named that's to the left of Kyle in this YouTube journalism, they all gave up something, started from absolutely nothing. No $20 million donations, not leaving MSNBC like Cenk and Anna, not working for mainstream and then getting tired of the day-to-day grind of mainstream and then going to independent media and pretending like you're somehow different when you're using all their sources to justify your nonsense. Like, people to the left of Kyle have they had nothing to gain when they came into this. They had everything to lose, and a lot of us did. A lot of us, like myself, I was homeless for a while because I was dedicated to this. So whenever I'm speaking about something, it is, and on top of all of that, like people like myself and Tim Black and a few others, we weren't buying into the Russiagate nonsense. And so, of course, we initially took hits for that. So, and of course, it turned out that we were right. So, but what I'm saying is, you'll see people like myself, Jimmy Dore, Tim Black, Kim, and a lot of other people who are actually in the trenches at events as activists and as journalists, but usually we're more so there as activists. We're organizing. Me personally, I do consulting outside of journalism. Like, this is what we do because we feel like it's necessary. And so when you get that type of analysis, that is the analysis you should be going with. Like, the other people are speaking because they went to school for journalism. They didn't go to school for political science. They damn sure didn't learn from the professors. I learned from some amazing professors. One of my professors was like, his part-time job was working at the UN. My other professor, he was the number one professor in Eastern European history, or number one academic in Eastern European history. They didn't go to school for the stuff that a lot of us went to school for. We understand how bad it is because this is what we've done our entire lives. We didn't just become journalists. And so this is demonstrated, by the way, in Cenk's recent video. He did this a couple of days ago, and I was going to do it yesterday, but I wanted to wait until Monday while everybody was paying attention. So, we're going to get into this, and we're going to laugh together. We're going to get a good, hearty laugh together. Take a look.
Okay. So the Mueller report is in, but we don't know yet what's in it. We do know what was reported on Friday night, which Anna and John covered on the Young Turks May show, which is that it appears that the reports say that there are going to be no further indictments. The Republicans are overjoyed about this. Well, let me explain why they're wrong about that, and then I'll explain why the Democrats are wrong. But they say that there might be also more crimes that were possibly mentioned in the report. So, let's start with the Democrats. Why do I think the Democrats are likely wrong about their theory on collusion? Well, if they put all their eggs in the basket of, during the election, Donald Trump called Vladimir Putin, and then Putin called him back, and they said, hey, should we rig the election? Oh, yeah, let's totally rig the election together. Is that what they think? Because that's definitely not what I think. I think that is quite unlikely. And if that's not what they think, they certainly made people think that that's.
Bruh, what the hell does that mean? Oh, the Democrats made it seem like he called Putin on the phone and no. First of all, the Democrats didn't actually say that. You made it seem like that. You made it seem like there was some big gotcha smoking gun. That was him. Am I wrong about this? I don't think that I'm wrong because Kyle went on to Twitter the other day. Last night? Yesterday was Sunday. He went on Twitter and was like, nah, like a lot of y'all was wilding. Y'all all said this. And then Michael Tracy called him out. And as much as I don't like Jordan Sheridan personally, even he was like, what are you talking about? I was on the panel when you said these exact same things. What are you talking about? Jake, it's to the point where I don't know if I really believe that this Russian thing is such a blow to Cenk's pride, and he doesn't know how to handle it, in all seriousness. But let's continue.
What they believe. And so before Mueller's investigation, they put all their eggs in that basket, which is already foolish. And then now, right before it came out, Pelosi said, well, we're not going to do impeachment, unless the Mueller report comes in with something, I guess, devastating, et cetera. She barely even said that, right? So now people are waiting like, okay, if the Mueller report shows there was a homicide, double homicide, then yes, they do. Democrats and everybody else does something about Trump. Otherwise, they don't do anything. Okay.
Huh? No. What? How do you go from? Because first of all, Pelosi, for the first time, damn near in her whole career, she was correct. It would be idiotic to try and impeach Trump. You don't have the numbers. One. You're going to try to open up basically another investigation on top of the other investigations that have already been proven to be utter failures and galvanize Trump's base again. I don't understand what's so hard to get about political strategy. Like, even when all the facts are laid out in front of you, you can't get it right. You have a team of researchers. Why don't you punch in some numbers? How to get Trump reelected. Oh, keep pissing off his base and making him the victim. You already know Trump appeals to a base that self-victimizes themselves as it is. So why would you then reignite them by constantly making him a victim in something that he didn't do? There are so many other things to get him on. I don't get it. There are so many. Get him on the emolument clause. Okay, if you want to get him on something, get him on the emolument clause. It's not going to have anything to do with Russia. I'm sorry. So you have to take that shit out of your vocabulary. But at the very least, people, at the very freaking least, we will be able to say, we got him. And then also, you might be able to take down some Democrats and Republicans at the same time. Why do you think that nobody wants to talk about the emolument clause? The Democrats haven't talked about it, and it's weird to me that TYT, who is home of the progressives and hates Democrats, supposedly, except for when they need them, nobody ever brings up why the Democrats don't try to impeach him on the emolument clause. So for those of you who don't know, the emolument clause is basically using your office to enrich yourself. Yeah. I think that we can all agree that there's a high likelihood that Trump, in some capacity, used his office to enrich himself. I mean, why wouldn't he? It's basically the norm. And actually, you're right. It is the norm. Pat myself on the back real quick. It is the norm. Democrats will not try to use the emolument clause to get Trump out, Because guess what? Take, for example, Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi has a net worth of $120 million. Nancy Pelosi has never had another job in her damn life. She has been a congresswoman, however long forever is, times that by 2. That's been her only job. Nancy Pelosi is worth $120 million. Do you think Nancy Pelosi might have used her public office to enrich herself? And if you didn't know, yes, Congress people are subject to impeachment. So do you think, just possibly, that Nancy Pelosi may be unwilling to mention the emolument clause when talking about Donald Trump, because then she may be subject to an impeachment while the Republicans still have control of the Senate? And that there would be retaliation upon retaliation upon retaliation upon retaliation. And it would just be a back and forth and back and forth. That's why nobody wants to talk about Trump getting impeached by the emolument clause. Because then everybody else gets exposed and us progressives get to sit back and laugh at everybody. They don't want to, nobody, it's crazy to me. It's like the most common sense thing, right? Nobody ever says, let's get him on. No, AOC, I lied. AOC was the first one to say it. I was like, I jumped out of my chair with joy because I'm like, I'm the only one who's ever said it. If you want him out, I mean, granted, I didn't want Trump out because Pence scares the shit out of me. But I'm saying, if you did want to get him out, get him on the emolument clause. It's that simple. But nobody wants to do that because, like, yeah, you couldn't actually succeed in the impeachment process, but you would expose some of the things that he's doing, whatever. But then guess what would happen? Trump would be like, oh, word? Because this is what he does. That's King Petty right there. If AOC is the clapback queen of the left, then Trump is definitely the clapback king of the right because he's on it, man. I'm telling you, I wish he would pay attention more to the duties of the president than on Twitter. That's kind of bothersome. But he would point at these Democrats and be like, oh, so I'm using my office to enrich yourself. What about this? What about this person? What about that person? What about this person? That's what the majority of these journalists don't talk about, is the fact that the Democrats are hiding from impeachment just as much as Trump is. And that's the facts. Let's continue.
No, that's a really stupid theory, if you ask me, by the Democrats, and a stupid way to handle this situation. So I think the Democrats are wrong in that sense. Now, why do I think the Republicans are wrong? Well, they say there's no collusion at all between Trump and Russia. I don't know what you're talking about. Guy's perfectly innocent. There's nothing weird at all going on between them. Okay. No. So I think that there clearly is collusion based on the publicly available evidence. So then now conservatives and some progressives go, what do you mean? I've said there's collusion before and after the election. So that has led to a lot of conservatives going, collusion after an election? That doesn't make any sense. Yes, it does. Of course it does. They're just saying, well, are you trying to say that he stole the election after the election? No, I'm not saying he stole the election. So collusion means working together, and in this case, for a nefarious purpose. So let's take it one step at a time. What does it mean before the election? So Donald Trump has been borrowing money from the Russians for a very, very long time. They've been investing into his properties for a very long time. Now, if you just got normal investments, no big deal, right?
We're going to talk about that. Yo, first of all, what? So we're going to first talk about the fact that he just said there was collusion after the election. What? There was collusion after the election? And I'm like, and you're on the edge of your seat like, oh, wow, maybe he's about to bring up a brilliant point. Maybe we just missed it, right? Maybe there's something that we may have missed. We know that he took money from Russians and Russians invested in his property and they speak Russian sometimes and sometimes they send love letters to each other in Russian characters. What? What? Wendy Melly, super chat. Thank you for being one of the few voices of reason. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Wendy. And I appreciate the super chat. But So let me ask Cenk this. Was collusion after the election carpet bombing Syria after he supposedly was running on being an anti-war candidate? Was collusion after the election pulling out of our nuclear arms treaty? Like, I'm confused. Was collusion after the election all the sanctions that Trump signed off on? I'm so confused with what collusion means now. Like, I thought I knew what collusion meant before 2016. But I have no idea anymore what the hell is this man talking about? There was no collusion after the election. Can I just go ahead and say that? Can we all agree? All 474 of y'all who are here, can we all agree? There was no damn collusion after the election. There was no damn collusion during the election. It's crazy because the people seem to forget. Do you remember those text messages between Peter Strzok and Lisa Page? When he said very specifically, we all know, those are the two FBI agents who got caught with, they was all kissy face to each other using burner phone. It was the stupidest thing ever. They would have been better off using an app from iPhone rather than using burner phones, but that's a different discussion. They got caught talking about the investigation, and Peter Strzok said very poignantly to Lisa Page, "We know there's not really any there. In other words, there is nothing to the Russian collusion case." We even found out by, what's that book? The book Shattered, written by Hillary Clinton insiders. The 24-hour plan, which was the 24-hour plan to blame Russia the moment that we lose the election. Remember that? Because that was in the book of Hillary Clinton insiders, but I'm sure they're liars. What would they know? Despite the fact that all the evidence points to the fact that they were probably telling the truth. But you just, I don't, maybe, am I undermining or underestimating Trump's intelligence? Am I really underestimating him? Is that what it is? Because it seems like for them to call him a buffoon and throw every insult in the book at him, they just give him much more credit than I have ever given this man. And I guess that might be where our disconnect is. Maybe. But I want you to think about something real quick. Walk with me down Black Man Lane. So I'm a black man. I don't know if y'all can tell, but clearly I'm black. Underneath my tattoos, there are some black people here. And when you're black, you've heard a lot of things in your life. You've heard a lot of ways, racial slurs. You've heard a lot of dog whistles. Racist subtexts and things like that. And you start to be able to see a pattern being formed. That's how you kind of, like, where they don't have to use the N-word or say an explicit racial slur, but you still know that they're using something that's probably a little bit bigoted and shouldn't be said. So I want y'all to take a step with me. Come look at the world through my eyes real quick. And I want you to replace the words he just said. So Cenk just said, we know he was taking money from the Russians. We know Russians were investing in his properties. We know he owes money to the Russians. And therefore, he won the elections for the Russians. Okay. So I want you to take that word, take Russian out, right? Replace that with Jew. We know he took money from the Jews. We know the Jews invested in him. Therefore, he colluded to win the election for the Jews. That don't sound too good, does it? We know he won. We know he took money from the blacks. We know he won. The blacks invested in him. Therefore, he won this election for the blacks. That don't sound too good either. We know he took the, well, I'm just going to use this. Obviously, I usually use the term LGBTQ, but I'm going to use this to help you all get there. We know he took money from the gays. We know the gays invested in him. Therefore, he's a candidate of the gays. Basically, if you take any triggering slur that is used about any particular, we know he got elected, he got money from the Muslims. We know the Muslims invested in him. Therefore, he's the Muslim candidate. He's doing it for them. If you take any other slur and take that word, put it into the sentences that Cenk in the mainstream media at large tout and put out into the world, that shit sounds xenophobic as hell. And guess what? It doesn't only sound xenophobic, it is xenophobic. It is bigoted. Ken Samero, love your show, Niko. Just became a patron. Also love Aggressive Progressives with Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore is my guy. I'm going to go see him next week. But there are some major egos on display at TYT. Cenk and Anna need to get a grip. Absolutely. Absolutely. So when you say stuff like, what the hell is the Russians? What does that mean, Cenk? That is the most intellectually lazy and, once again, xenophobic description of whatever you're trying to say. Like, if you can't name a name, if you can't name an organization, if you can't do anything but use some generalized label describing someone's ethnic, racial, or national background, then don't fucking use it as an argument to justify thrusting the country into an era of division unlike we've ever seen since the fucking Civil War. How about not do that? How about let's not use xenophobic tropes? Because that's what you're doing. How about we not use McCarthyist rhetoric that was created by the likes of the Dulles brothers, the conservatives who tricked Truman into starting the Cold War? How about we don't do that? I mean, sweet baby Jesus. Why do I have to explain this to a grown man? You're the one with the researchers. You're the one with the 10 years on the clock. You've been doing this. I shouldn't have to explain to you what McCarthyism looks like, Cenk. This is how the Japanese ended up in internment camps here in the States. This is exactly how. Because this is how the Holocaust started, by the way. Finger pointing. The Jews. Who is the Jews? Who are the Russians? The Russians. The Russians gave him money. Who, Cenk? Who is the Russians? Give me a name. Give me one fucking name. One. If you can't, if you gotta say the blacks, if you gotta say the Jews, if you gotta say the Russians, I don't gotta, when I critique the Israeli government, I don't have to say the Israelis. You know who I say? Benjamin fucking Netanyahu. That's what I say. Because I know exactly who to point fingers at. I can point to the statements that he has said that has led to the turmoil of the Palestinian people. We can look at the receipts of what he's done that has led to the deaths of the Palestinian people. We don't have to guess. We don't have to say Israelis. Why do you have to say the Russians? Why? Because you don't have a name. That's why. Because you're pulling shit out of thin air because your show has relied on you fucking lying and pushing this collusion concept for 2.5 years, and you're upset that 5 million of your subscribers have been fucking duped by your ass. So you're clinging. Even if you have to use xenophobic tropes to get your point across. Because you can't name a name. You can't name an organization. And you can't do the basic research and have the basic levels of common sense to determine maybe, just maybe, I don't know. Maybe I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Maybe that's it. Well, y'all got me hot up in here. I need to get it down. Sure, I'm hot, man. I'm sweating. Look, let me continue with this video.
Countries, other people from all across the world buy properties in Florida, New York, etc. That would, if there's no other pattern, that would be no big deal at all, okay? And the fact that there's some Russian citizens who have bought something doesn't mean anything either, okay? But Eric Trump, both the Trump kids talked about how the Russians have been giving them a lot. They don't need money from anyone else because the Russians have been giving them a lot of money for a long time now. when asked about the golf courses, they said, "Oh, we get all our money from the Russians," and they said, "Why?" He said, "Because they really, really like golf." Okay, that's not a thing. Nobody gives you hundreds of millions of dollars because they really like golf, and certainly not Russian oligarchs. So now you have to also remember that Trump went bankrupt 6 different times, and then he is, at the height of those bankruptcies, rescued by Russian loans. There are 63 different billionaire Russians, not average citizens, 63 Russian billionaires that buy properties in Trump across.
Y'all. There are 63 billionaires who hang out with the billionaire Donald Trump. Oh my God. What? Oh, what? Stop the presses. Ring the alarm. Trump has billionaire friends that buy properties in his real estate. Oh my God. Oh, well, shit. Well, if that's the case is closed. Mueller can go home. We can pack it up, send it to Burr, prosecute him, indict him. Let's do it. The billionaire has billionaire friends. That means he colluded to steal the fucking election, Cenk. That's what that means? Really? That's the conclusion you draw from a Russian billionaire real estate mogul has billionaire friends that he chills with who buys properties in his $1 million condos. That's your big gotcha. Cenk, I'm going to go ahead. I got TRICARE, right? I'm a retired service member, veteran. I'm going to call TRICARE. I'm going to call mental health services for TRICARE and see if I can transfer my TRICARE into your name so that you can go see a therapist and work whatever issues you have with this situation out, because this is ridiculous, bro. Cheryl Todd, Cenk is beyond pathetic. Yeah, this is bad. This is horrible. You need help, dog. And I'm not even joking about this. Your ego is driving you at this. Like, stop letting your ego take the wheel and let Jesus take it. Jesus can't, he didn't have a car in Nazareth, but I'm sure he can still drive it better than your ego's driving right now. Isn't this, you know what's crazy? You hear all these hula hoops, these juke moves that Cenk is doing. He's doing these little juke moves right here. Cenk is juking. Jumping through the hula hoops like Circus de LA. Jumping and hooping and jumping and hooping. And that's all good, and that's well and good. Did y'all hear Cenk jump through these type of hula hoops when the Uranium One deal was brought into light? This out of curiosity. Russiagate serves the deep state war agenda. Abso-freaking-positively. Y'all remember Cenk jumping through all these hula hoops with Uranium One? No, he didn't. Actually, what he said was that it's been debunked, which was never the case, by the way. So whenever Bill Clinton took $500,000 from the Russians right before Hillary Clinton got Uranium One passed, that wasn't anything big, right? That was just because you said when you use the words money, the Russians, in a politician's name, that means there's some type of collusion, right? Isn't that what you said? Huh? I'm not. That's what he said, right? I didn't make that up. I'm just trying to understand, right? That if that's what is the requirement for collusion, Clinton took money, gave a speech, got Uranium One. Okay, so that's the thing. Okay, and then around the time that Uranium One passed, which by the way, if you don't know, it gave what 20% of our uranium to Russian oligarchs, if you will. Oh, okay. Oh, because that's Russian oligarchs are the problem. Okay. All right. So right after Uranium One, around the time that all this was going on, $500,000 goes to Bill Clinton. Hillary Clinton colludes with Eric Holder and other people to get Uranium One passed. As all this is going on, John Podesta, who was Barack Obama's chief of staff, was going to be Hillary Clinton's chief of staff. The guy who founder of Center for American Progress was also Hillary Clinton's campaign guy. That guy, working for Hillary Clinton, working for Barack Obama, had 50,000 shares in Juul, which is the largest Kremlin-backed energy company in the world, which happened to take off as Uranium One was passed, and Podesta had 50,000 shares. I'm just trying to. So, by your logic, Cenk, this isn't my logic, even though it's true, but by your logic, Cenk, Hillary Clinton was guilty of colluding with Russia to get her ass kicked because she didn't win anything. But I'm just saying, the only one who was guilty, clearly, of colluding with Russia was. You want to know the difference? In all seriousness, you want to know the difference between the indictment that didn't happen with Trump and the indictment that didn't happen with Hillary? When this report has come out, and when it does come out, and what we know at this point from the report, is the main difference is that with Trump, they didn't say, hold up, we got a O Fuentes, thanks for the super chat. Niko Roundhouse is your name, kicking ass and holding no punches. Keep it up. Appreciate it, man. But with Trump, when that report came out, and when we got wind that it came out, hasn't been fully released yet. They didn't say Trump is guilty of X, Y, and Z. However, we won't recommend indictments because of intent. He didn't mean to. He didn't know what he was doing. He was just naive. Here's the thing, because it's crazy what he'll choose to focus on. This is why I say you got to watch where you get your news. You got to watch out. You got to get your news from the activists. Don't get your news from the journalists, from mainstream. Yeah, he's from the mainstream. Came from MSNBC. Took all that money. He's mainstream. He ain't independent. You can't be independent with 20 mil invested in you, dog. Sorry. But once again, in Hillary's camp, on the Hillary side, they said, we know she did it. What she did was wrong. What she did was illegal. What she did was unlawful. Yeah, she had it in her thing. Yeah, she accidentally sent off top secret emails. Yeah, but she didn't mean to. So we can't indict her. I mean, look at her. She's so sweet. She didn't mean to do it. Look at that pretty smile. She's just frail and incompetent. You know what's crazy about that? Just as a brief aside, how you gonna sit here and tell me, once again, you gonna jump through do these mental gymnastics to try and somehow link Trump to collusion? Somehow, some way, link Trump to collusion. But on Hillary Clinton's side, you focused on the emails for all of 2 days, called us stupid for saying how ridiculous, not only me, but lawyers were even like, yo, she messed up precedents. There are lawyers who have confirmed with me that because of what Hillary Clinton got away with by the FBI, who's there, being the director of the FBI is the top investigator in the country. Technically, that's what your title is. And obviously, the attorney general is the top prosecutor in the country. And so when the director of the FBI doesn't recommend indictments saying that, yeah, you broke the law, but because you didn't have any intent, we can forgive you, bruh. But with all that being said, what James Comey essentially said was that Hillary Clinton was too stupid and we should forgive her. But in the same breath, these people still got the nerve to say something like, well, Hillary Clinton is the most qualified candidate still. She's the most qualified candidate. Bruh, come on. So we're gonna run through the rest of this. I'm gonna do a brief I'm gonna finish this. Let this finish. We're gonna do a brief little summary, and then we're gonna go on about our business. I'm gonna get me hot up in here. I'm already hot. Y'all see me sweating. Don't play. I know it. It's okay. It's Miami. I keep it hot.
The country, okay? So that's the Russian. That is. Do I know? Do I have receipts? Did the Russian oligarchs call me? Did Trump call me? No, I don't have. That's why I was hoping Mueller looked into it. Now I don't know if he did. I'm now a little worried he didn't. Okay, but does that look like telltale money laundering? Yes, that looks like money laundering 101. If you don't know, this is how a lot of different corrupt rich people get money out of the country, of the different various countries, the Saudis, the Chinese, the Russians, so many other countries. They come in and they buy properties here, and they're even willing to lose money on it, but it cleans their money as they do those transactions. They buy properties, they sell them, and now, hey, it's a legitimate money that I've got in a bank account. I bought the property, I sold the property. You see that? So no force on earth is going to convince me that Trump was just having innocent.
So we can just stop there, right? Because y'all heard that. We can just stop there. Basically, no force on earth is going to convince me. So I'm glad that he admitted it so we didn't have to keep deliberating this. Cenk doesn't believe in facts. And that's the moral of the story. Facts that disagree with his ego are inconsequential. This is why you have to get your news from activists. Don't get your news from journalists. Or at least don't get your analysis. You can get your news from them, but don't get your analysis from them. Because boy don't know what the hell he's talking about. I'm going to be honest with you. You don't know what the hell he's talking about. Nobody does. We're still trying to figure out what Cenk is talking about. We don't know. I have no idea. This whole thing was kind of like a weird, it was like xenophobic, and then it was like, fuck the Democrats, and then fuck the Republicans, and Democrats aren't doing what I want to, Republicans aren't doing what I want to. Well, if nobody's doing what you want to, and you're not on the side of progressives and where we agree at on this situation, then maybe your ass is just wrong, Cenk. You ever think about that? Is that a possibility to you? Do you not think that's why your former staff members like Michael Tracy was on Twitter roasting your ass? I mean, he said with all due respect. So luckily for us, you ain't do no respect. So he was roasting your ass. Like, you argued there was a direct connection. And in the same breath, argued, by the way, once again, that the Uranium One thing was debunked and that's a nothing burger trumped up by the Republicans. It was a nothing burger trumped up by the Republicans that was covered by the New York Times. Okay, that's where I'll make my exit. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Mi Casa Es Su Casa. Remember, more than anything else, people, find your balance. Peace.